All right, let's take you back now to one of our leading stories where the ANC and the SACP have held bilateral talks amid tensions over the Communist Party's decision to contest elections independently. Let's speak now to SACP spokesperson Mbulelo Mandlana, who talks to us via the virtual platform. Mr. Mandlana, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. Before I get into what came out of the bilateral with the ANC today, can we understand the position of the SACP at a leadership level, whether you speak with one voice on this question of going it alone in the elections? And I'm asking you this question because the chairperson of the party, Mr. Blade Nzimande, appears to suggest that there needs to be further discussions within the SACP on this very position.
Good evening, Paul. I think it's important that as a Communist Party we clarify that matter. We do know that there is a document that has been going around, accredited to the national chairperson, purporting among its assertions that we must reconsider our approach to the question of elections as the Communist Party. Of course, that discussion document is not to be accredited to the Communist Party itself. It is to be accredited, as I said earlier, to the national chairperson. The Communist Party is discussing internally how to handle that matter. But the matter of the position of the party remains unchanged, despite the discussion that appears that the chairperson intends to initiate from among the Communist Party members. To do so would be incorrect because the Communist Party has taken a decision in the National Congress. There is no other platform that can change that decision. So constitutionally, politically, and from a moral political standpoint, that kind of position in the party is unchanging and unchangeable unless and until it can be changed by a National Congress, which will not sit up until we have gone past the elections. So in that context, the Communist Party is in one mind about this matter. If it appears in any way that there is a doubt or doubtfulness, let it be known now that the Communist Party does not, as an organization, look this side and that other side about this question. For us, as an organization, that party, that matter is closed.
All right. So I can't move on then without asking a further question, particularly on the position of the chairperson. If you are suggesting that he seems to want to backtrack on a position of Congress. Now, it's important to emphasize that this was a collective decision of the SACP as a political party. Now, here comes the chairperson to say, we possibly need to discuss this further. Is he out of order then? And does that suggest that some action could be taken against him?
Toli, I will not delve into that. But what I can answer at this time to respond to your question is this. Even though, of course, the fact that this document has been made public is problematic. Number two, even though its assertions in relative to the content, particularly as it relates to the decisions of the party, is also problematic, the national chairperson in the same document, however, still affirms at the same time that the decision of the Communist Party is a decision that the members of the Communist Party must, in the longer term, continue to ensure that it is implemented, despite some of the short-term suggestions he is making, which, of course, do not go in tandem with the spirit of the Congress and therefore its resolutions. So, as to whether the Communist Party will take what forms of actions in relation to that kind of publication, that matter is not on my lap personally. And I can tell you one thing and one thing only. We are having a central committee augmented at the end of this week. And this matter will serve on the Central Committee to decide about how to make sure that all of us defend this decision and ensure that it is implemented. And at this time, I do not think that the National Chairperson intends that this decision must be vanquished or undermined.
Okay.
We can discuss about the questions of his methods of trying to debate and enrich it, but that is not a matter we can go too far now in discussing until the Central Committee looks at it.
Okay, that's a very interesting approach indeed from Dr. Blade Nzimande. If that is the position then, Mr. Mandlana, why should the ANC have sleepless nights trying to convince the SACP, whose leadership does not appear certain as to the decision it wants to take here? You are not firm just based on what the SACP chairperson's position is. Why should the ANC worry about whether or not you're going to ultimately leave this arrangement of not contesting elections against one another?
I love your play of words, Paul. But the Communist Party, you say it does not appear to be firm. No. The Communist Party is firm. In fact, the last time I spoke with you, this matter of our certainty on this matter was not in debate and it was not in doubt, and it continues to be firm at this time, and we are not in doubt and we are not in debate about the substantive nature of the decision. Now, the fact that the ANC has said in public that they may want to persuade us in the opposite direction, that is for the ANC to consider. That is not for the Communist Party to consider. The Communist Party's decision is clear. We will engage with the ANC because the ANC is our ally. We're part of the same progressive alliance. But that does not have to translate to mean that the Communist Party somehow must undermine its own decisions or be uncertain about the substance of its own decisions. We have gone past that issue. The fact that
So what's Dr. Blade Nzimande doing then? If you've gone past this hurdle, individual members' views are exactly that, their own individual views. But once a position has been taken, it means everyone must follow the line of march. Now, if Dr. Nzimande feels so strong about this position that it actually goes public, it completely muddies the waters for you as a party that wants to be taken seriously, not only by your alliance partners, but the people that you are going to ask for votes from.
You certainly are correct that this public discourse weakens our position relatively. But you must also look at the other side of it, The one side is, since I've been in this position of speaking for the party, we have been communicating simply one message. The Communist Party is going to elections with no doubt. Whether I'm talking to you or talking to any radio station, and any other person representing the party has been consistent on this line. And every other engagement we've had with the ANC begins with this particular initial understanding. The bilateral today also affirmed the same position, which bilateral was co-chaired by the chairperson of the ANC, Comrade Mandaje, and the chairperson of the Communist Party, going on the same line about how can the alliance function with a Communist Party that is going strong on the question of election. So in as far as our operations are concerned, the fact that there's a document means nothing in relation to how we are practicing our politics right now to ensure that we move forward with our decision. Now, of course, from a person who is concerned about public appearances, this matter would be worrisome. But for us as a Communist Party, we have not been confused, we have not been doubtful, and we are clear on this matter. The fact that there's a document that is circulating does not speak ill of what the organization intends to do. If there are other short-term issues that must be dealt with at a subjective level, we can deal with those. But that does not replace the position of the organization.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad that you're happy to inform us that indeed this document is legitimate that is circulating, which then speaks to matters of ill discipline. I understand and I completely empathize with your position as spokesperson that you would be very uncomfortable to announce disciplinary measures against an office bearer such as the chairperson. Let's move on.
Yes.
The SACP intends to contest elections alone. You've already had a test run. 2 by-elections in Limpopo took place. You only achieved 1%. Why should anyone take you seriously? Needless to say, the voters.
You see, Toli, the Communist Party never went into those elections promising anyone an outright victory. The Communist Party is participating in the elections for the first time in the first 30 years of the national democracy in South Africa. It would be unreasonable for anyone to expect that we're going to do a showing of an organization immediately that expects a direct victory.
That's not true.
These
Can I
elections,
remind you?
these
You
elections,
know it's not true.
Yes.
Can I remind you? It's not true
Yes,
that you're
you go
contesting.
ahead.
It's not true that you're contesting elections for the first time. It happened in 2021. Exactly. What happened there?
No, I get that. I get that. The difference with Metsimaholo is that it was an emergency intervention. When workers in that municipality were being fired and the ANC leadership was misbehaving, acting outside the alliance functions, and the Communist Party decided, outside of a Congress decision to directly contest elections, that there was a need for the Communist Party to make a particular intervention in Metsimaholo in order to defend those workers and to put that municipality in a better position than it was, given the crisis of corruption that was happening at that time. And our leadership in Free State made that intervention. So it was a different scenario altogether that cannot be compared to now, because right now, we have had a Congress that had a thorough discussion and made several considerations about how to move forward and arrived at the decision that we ought to go to elections directly. This is not the same as what happened in Metsimaholo. Metsimaholo, it was a stopgap measure in a context of an emergency. In this scenario, we have now had, now had an opportunity to sit down and plan and categorize our strategies. Yeah. And what we have experienced in Limpopo is that in a test run, there are some challenges that the organization is facing and the organization in opposition would face. And we are not shocked that these challenges are available, and we are looking at strategies about how to improve, which is why in Makana, in the Eastern Cape, there is another ward which we are participating in by-elections. We are going to do so until all the opportunities for us to do this are vanquished, and we can only confront the electorate at the time when the national decision is made about when are the local government elections going to be.
Mr. Mandlana, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
We wish you the best of luck because in all of what you have said, the point is an election was contested, never mind the circumstances, and the result was not impressive. But we're going to have to leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
SACP spokesperson Mbulelo Mandlana.